Hey, Lucas. I would like to have this conversation with you about, let's say somebody's looking to hire a realtor. What are the
Okay.
qualities do you think, let's say you hire a realtor, what are the qualities that you're looking for?
Well, are we talking about hiring a buyer's agent or a listing agent, Gary? Because they're different skill sets.
Hmm. You know what? Let's talk about a buyer's agent.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, sure. Let's talk about why we need a buyer's agent first,
Yeah,
right?
because we hear about, the
All these
lawsuit.
changes, yeah, lawsuits, all this stuff in the industry. And why do we need a buyer's agent,
Yeah,
Gary?
you
And
can
let me
just go
tell
on
you.
Zillow and just, look at the house you want and put an offer. Easy as that. Why do
Sure.
we need one?
So let's start with buyer agency and what's allowed in California. So there's
Right.
three types of buyer agents. There's three types of agency allowed in California.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's the listing agent or the seller's agent, and
Mm-hmm.
they owe a fiduciary duty of honesty, fair dealing, and to negotiate on the seller's behalf and in the seller's best interest at all times.
Right.
There's a buyer's agent, which is what we're talking about here. And
Mm-hmm.
they owe a duty to the buyer of honesty, fair dealing, and to negotiate on the buyer's behalf at all times,
Right. And
right?
people sometimes don't believe that, oh, ethics and
Well,
whatnot. But
then
keep in
there's
mind,
do
mhm,
hold on.
yeah,
Sorry, Gary, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
go for
The
it.
third agency allowed in California is dual agency,
Will you
where they
represent?
allow one person to represent both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my concern with dual agency is we're talking about literally tens of thousands of dollars in commission money,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard for anybody to be unbiased when we're
Uh-huh.
talking about that much money.
Yeah.
So people say, Lucas, why shouldn't I go use the listing agent to buy my house? I mean, they're going to give me a better deal or a break on the commission or any of that stuff.
Exactly.
And my analogy is kind of like this. It says, hey, it's kind of like going to get a divorce and asking your wife's lawyer to represent you,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Or
Hmm.
if you were charged with a crime, Gary, would you go in and would you ask the prosecutor, hey, I know you know the judge. Could you just represent me as well as the
The other the other side?
the other side, right?
Exactly.
He's going to say, here, Gary, sign this. It's just 5 years in prison. And then he's going to go have lunch with the judge.
Don't worry about it. Just sign here.
Just sign here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he's got a fiduciary duty. His primary fiduciary duty is to the other side. So that's why we need an agent representing us. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Gary. I wanted to get that clear because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people don't understand why they need a buyer's agent.
I was going to say this. When it comes to like people nowadays, they are very skeptical when I say I'm an honest person. I follow the code ethics, and you see that in corporations. You see a lot of corporations go bankrupt. You look at 20 years ago, Enron, and look at all these corporations that went bankrupt because they claimed to be ethical, and then they didn't. Now,
Right.
when we say that we have a fiduciary duty, if for whatever reason you can see that the agent didn't represent you in the best of the fiduciary duty that they have owed to you, you can sue them. We as agent, because we have a license, we are dictated by the Department of Real Estate. And if you can show that we did something wrong, we lose our license and our livelihood. Imagine you and I, we have doing this what for 10 years now, over 10 years. We I wouldn't want to lose my license because of one deal that I was being unethical or I didn't follow the code ethics. So legally, we are bound to do the right thing. Not because we're good people. It's because we have a check and balance that help you as a consumer to get the best representation possible.
Correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely. 100%. We have a fiduciary duty to represent your best interest.
exactly.
I still think that each party needs their own agent. In fact, on my team, when somebody comes on one of our listings and says, hey, I only want to deal with the listing agent, I will refer them to another agent on our team to represent them as the buyer because
Right.
my job is to represent the seller.
Yeah.
And it's easier for me to be clear,
Yeah.
right? Now, even if that other person on my team is my wife, they say, well, your wife, you guys are working together. I'm like, man, how long have you been married, bro? 'Cause
Exactly.
yes,
Those are
yes, we're working together, but my wife cares passionately about her clients and she fiercely represents them and believes in her heart in her fiduciary duty to them. So she will give them 100% no matter what. And there have been more
100%.
than one disagreement here in the Smith home regarding buyers and sellers. Trust what I say.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure you and your wife don't talk about business 24/7. When you come home, who wants to keep on talking about that deal? Who wants to
No,
talk about, like, oh, that disclosure and that more? Who wants to talk about that? I know I
nobody,
don't.
nobody, nobody. We have a hard cutoff for it where it's our time versus business time. So,
Exactly.
um, so how do you choose a good buyer's agent,
Yeah.
Gary? If I was going to go do that, how would I choose somebody who's a good buyer's agent?
How would you choose that? For me, I would say for one is uh, talk to the agent and see if there's a connection, because I used to think that experience was a one determination. However, keep in mind that technology have changed so much that sometimes you have to see if that communication is the right one for you. Because nowadays, people, well, yeah, I can say this. Nowadays, people don't talk as much. They rather have text or a different type of way to communicate. Sometimes calling might not be as feasible for the buyer. So I would say that the first thing that I will use for an agent, where by choosing an agent, is how do you communicate? Is that a mesh that you guys have a good connection? What do you think? To me, it's communication.
Well, okay, I want a connection. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you, Gary, if you had a major disease,
Mm-hmm.
would you want a brand new intern operating on you, or would you
Mm-hmm.
want somebody with 10 or 20 years experience operating on you?
I would say for that, yes, 20 years experience.
Okay. Because this purchase is one of the largest financial investments that we make as people. So I definitely agree. You want somebody who's going to communicate the way you want,
Mm-hmm.
and you want a good connection, but you want experience as well.
Right.
You also want somebody who has some unique value proposition. What's
Yes.
different about them?
Very important.
Because any agent can open a door. Everybody's got a phone key. They can all open the door and say, and this is the living room,
Like
right?
I didn't know.
Anybody can do that, right? But what you want is you want somebody who has a unique value proposition. So on
Right.
our team, one of our unique value propositions is we find off-market properties for our buyers. Buyers that aren't readily available on Zillow, Trulia, or realtor.com that they can't just go find themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
We also offer guarantees to our buyers, right? Such as you love your home or we'll buy it back guarantee.
Oh,
It says that if
guarantees.
you don't love your home
Mm-hmm. We buy.
for the first 24 months, we'll buy it back or sell it for free. And
Wow.
in the time of offering that guarantee, we've sold 2 homes for free for zero commission because there was something going on with the neighborhood or something about the home that changed. In
Mm.
one instance, their job changed and moved and they just couldn't stay there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they utilized our guarantee in order to make the best move forward in their life.
Okay. So unique value proposition is experience, unique value propositions, and
Right. And
okay,
guarantees,
and
certainty.
guarantees. Certain. That's a word that you will not find around that much, but you use it quite often. We guarantee that we buy a house.
Right. Right. Gary, if you're spending all of your money on something, do you want some certainty?
I want some certainty that
Yeah.
that's advantageous to me. Yeah, of course.
Right.
And the more the better.
Right. So I would say that's what you're looking for is experience and good connection, right? Both of those
Yeah.
are key.
Mm-hmm.
You want somebody who's going to do something more than open a door for you.
You don't want an Uber driver.
You
We don't
don't
need
you
that.
don't need a real estate taxi. That actually that service is coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they just pay agents to open doors for people.
Yeah.
So if you want that, okay, but you're gonna get people who are brand new, still wet behind the ears, and they don't know what they're doing. And you want some guarantees. That's what I
Yes.
would say you want in a good buyer's agent, because what's going to happen, what's happening this year, is if you work with a buyer's agent, you're going to have to sign an agreement with them saying that if
Yes.
they find you the home, you're going to guarantee they get paid. You're going to
Yeah.
guarantee that they're allowed to negotiate for their commission.
So you want to make sure you vet that agent that you want to hire. I would say also check on their background, talk to their past clients, and ask for references. You don't need that
Yeah,
many. Just call a few. I have some of my agents, not my clients in the past, call me and ask for references, and I just give them freely. Like, hey, just make sure that just get the information and call them.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
have a few people, who
Hmm.
you've done a good job for,
Hmm.
that you can just say, hey, I'm going to give somebody your number. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's
Um,
nothing but that. So make sure that you check that the agent is have a good relationship with their past clients and they did a good job and you're satisfied, then go for it.
100%. Absolutely.
Lucas,
Absolutely.
our time is up, but if people want to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you? I see that your information
They
is
can
right
give me
there.
a call or a text on my cell phone, 714-356-7142. I answer it most business hours.
Awesome. Well, Lucas, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Gary. Really appreciate it. You have an amazing day, sir.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.